Most change initiatives fail. The statistics are grim. Up to 70% either fail outright or are not sustained over time. And you may have noticed that this applies to your personal life as well as to corporate strategic change. So what is up with that, and what can we do about it? Because, look, that is not acceptable. 70% is crazy. I've participated in change initiatives that failed. I think we probably all have. I've also, happily enough, been able to lead some change initiatives that succeeded exceptionally well, if I do say so myself, and in fact, better than the CEO who assigned me to the task expected. Since leaving my corporate executive role to teach, consult, and coach on leadership, I've studied and researched this issue because it just seems nuts to me that 70% fail. What is it really that keeps change from succeeding, especially when in so many cases it is strategically important and even imperative for a company's ongoing success and profitability? And failed change is insanely expensive. So the result of all that study and research was a 1-hour keynote session that I've presented at a number of conferences and for clients' emerging leaders programs. But I didn't stop researching. I kept learning more and stuffing more and more into the session until it was bulging at the seams, and it became clear that it needed to be a full-fledged, multi-module course. The keynote session and course descriptions are linked below, but in this video I want to just briefly touch on the root causes of failure, because they're not what most people will tell you. In fact, if you Google, "why does change fail?" you'll find very similar answers: poor communication, insufficient vision, lack of consolidated, consistent leadership, and so on. But if these are the problems, why aren't they getting fixed? They're not that hard to fix, or you wouldn't think they should be. So yes, these are all problems, but what's behind those problems? Why do these things happen over and over and over again? All of this is covered in both the 1-hour keynote as well as the in-depth change leadership program, of course. Briefly, though, there are real, unavoidable scientific reasons why change is hard for people, and therefore why change leadership can be such a challenge. The neuroscience points to how the brain reacts to change, in short, not well, and the ways in which senior executives identify the need to change and then how they design the change impact on how it's communicated, executed, and then, yes, how it is led. I have a longer video, which you can see at the link below, that goes into more depth on the core reasons for resistance and failure. Now, that video might be a tad discouraging since it's just about the reasons for the resistance and the change and the failures. But the good news is that when we understand these issues, the brain science, the neuroscience behind resistance, the ways in which people react emotionally to change, why communication fails to have its intended effect, and so on, we can respond appropriately and effectively to mitigate these issues and help teams move through the challenges and create forward momentum and successful change. I love teaching this program because I love seeing and hearing participants' reactions to the material, to the science-based reasons behind what can seem like irrational resistance and emotional reactivity. And the simple, effective leadership tools are actually even fun to practice and use. If this sounds like a program or session that would be helpful for your managers and leaders or would be a fit for your conference, let's talk about your objectives and see if it is, in fact, a fit. Click the button below to put yourself on my calendar and start the conversation. Let's stop having failed change. Let's create change that actually works and succeeds and creates the results that companies and people want.